Has issued an urgent software update for many of its phones, tablets and computers because of security flaws that could allow attackers to take complete control of the devices. The vulnerability would allow intruders to impersonate the device's owner and subsequently run any software in their name. Well, let's get more on this and speak to Jake Moore, who's a cybersecurity advisor at ESET, a cybersecurity company. Hi, welcome to you. So tell us more about this security breach. What's the issue? How's it working? How can we stop it?
Yeah, so Apple has disclosed some pretty serious security vulnerabilities for iPhones, iPads and Macs. Now, this could potentially allow hackers to take complete control of these devices, which is pretty dangerous. So if a hacker were to actually target your device, they could see your contacts list, read your messages, see your location, or even see your camera and access your microphone as well.
And how do we know if someone's trying to do that, to access our device without us knowing?
Well, that's the frustration. You can't ever know that it's happened. I mean, the good news is that most people won't be targeted. They tend to target particular groups of people, such as activists, journalists, and politicians, for example. But unfortunately, we can't know that it's on there. So it's always best just to update those devices anyway.
So basically, when you get that message saying update, there's a new update, you need to make sure that you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, most people will have automatic updates on their phones, but there's usually a few days where it doesn't actually update, just to give some people who want to leave it for a few days to see if any bugs are in those updates. But I always say, jump on board, be an early adopter, update those devices, because some of these security vulnerabilities can be pretty serious.
And do we know what's happened, what's gone wrong?
Well, that's the point. We don't actually know. Apple have been quite coy about these serious vulnerabilities, but it obviously is quite serious because it's giving full access to the admin capabilities called the kernel on board the iPhone, but we don't know too much more. It may have been used out in the wild. We don't know that yet. They're keeping that back. But like I say, make sure those devices are updated.
And if you're concerned at all, can you contact Apple and ask them whether or not you've been targeted?
No, that probably won't work. Like most of these big companies, they don't have anyone on the end of a phone call or an email address. So it's best just to keep them updated, like I say, but particularly those groups that might be in the public eye, because like we've seen before with software companies, these spyware companies such as the NSO group, they will be designed to identify those flaws, connect malware to them, and then go and steal specific data. So this might just be connected to a particular few people out there. But unfortunately, once it gets out into the wild, it can get off the dark web, potentially anyone could then be affected.
And when something like this happens, this kind of huge data breach that's potentially very serious, do we ever get to find out who's behind it? Is there a criminal investigation? What's the process?
Well, they'll attempt a criminal investigation, but it is incredibly difficult to do so. So I used to work in the cybercrime team for my local police force, and it's very difficult to go and find the evidence, usually only a few breadcrumbs at most. So there will be an investigation for this, but unfortunately, these cyber criminals these days are very good at hiding the evidence that might be there and hiding in the digital shadows.
Historically, Microsoft often been targeted by hackers. Now that more and more people all over the world are using Apple products, are they the primary target?
Anyone could be a primary target. It's just, yes, they do go for the masses. So if the majority of the world are using Apple products, then they're going to spend more time and more resources trying to look for those vulnerabilities. And there always will be, but it's always a cat and mouse game between the big companies and the attackers to try and reduce the time that they find the problem and patch it up.
OK, Jake Moore, great to talk to you. A bit scary that basically none of us will ever know if it's happened to us, though.